welcome to episode 16 of Meander Travel. I am Julie, and I'm here with my husband, Tony.
Hello.
And today we're going to discuss the ins and outs of international pet sitting. We're just finishing up a 2-week pet sit in Italy, so if you've ever wondered what this would be like, or if you didn't even know this was a thing, then grab your squeaky toy as we share some ins and outs of pet sitting in a foreign country. Wheels up!
We're gonna be two hearts running wild.
So, if you have listened to our previous episode, we introduced the topic of international pet sitting. And if you didn't listen to it, why not? Secondly,
You should.
in this episode, we will break it all down and explain why you might want to pet sit, how we found a great opportunity currently in Italy, what other sites you can use than the ones that we used that you can find a pet sit on, what questions to ask a potential pet or homeowner, and also share some things that happened to us along the way, some things that we learned.
Yeah. So, what is international pet sitting and what does that entail? And how do we find out about it? So, way back when we first entertained the idea of quitting our jobs to travel, we binged on travel and digital nomad podcasts like crazy people. And we had heard of pet sitting before, of course. It's not like we don't have that kind of thing in the United States, but we didn't realize that it was such a big thing in Europe.
For example, on the site Nomador, which is one of the pet house sitting sites, currently there are approximately, right now, available 2,300 opportunities for pet sitting in Europe. That's all over Europe. In the United States, only 200.
We might have been actually looking for some more. We're not even finished
Yeah.
with this one, and you were scrolling on that site looking for some other ones. It's crazy.
Yeah, you could also search other opportunities on sites like trustedhousesitters.com or mindmyhouse.com. There are many others. You just need to find the one that's right for you, that fits what you're trying to find. They all have their pros and cons. Some of these sites have a registration process. You might have to provide identity confirmation or offer referrals. Some are paid sites and some are free. Like Nomador, you can do for free, but then if you actually want to take a sit, you actually have to sign up and get a subscription. Trusted House Sitters, that's like $11 a month. So if you're going to do it with that, that can get costly unless you plan on doing it really a lot.
So some of them you can actually look through the sits. Is that what you're saying? But then if you actually want to apply for one, then you have to pay. Is
Yeah,
that
you can
what-
actually look at, hey, there's a dog sitting opportunity in Greece. I want that one, but I'm not paid on the subscription yet. Then you would pay, then send your submittal, and if you're approved, then you get it, but you've then registered. For one of the sites, I had to give my passport information. Don't freak out. Every time you travel international, you give your passport up like crazy. It's not like your
to
credit
every
card.
hotel and
Every
Airbnb
hotel takes
and,
your
yeah.
passport information.
Yeah. True.
On a lot of these sites, you actually get to be rated, and also as a sitter, and also you get to see the ratings of the people that have pets to be sit for. So a pet owner actually has ratings too. You can say, like, these people were horrible or they were great. We loved their house. They were so generous. Their dog was, cranky and bit everyone. Whatever. They're probably not going to get a lot of people, wanting to be pet sitters. But hey, you get ratings.
Yeah, it's interesting. There are a lot of different sites. You'll just have to do a little exploration. And we do have these, obviously, in the United States as well. We've used a site at home called rover.com. Maybe you guys are familiar with that. We've used it many times to find local pet sitters to stay overnight with our dog. And then also when we travel, we've had a few of them stay for a week or more. But the difference is that we pay for that service, and it's usually around $50 a night or more.
That's for an expensive one, but usually $30 to $50 a night.
No, there's some that are 90, 100.
Oh my.
Oh yeah, he hasn't looked at that site. I've done all that. So it's just a more prevalent thing in Europe than it is here. So, and I also have seen some of the sites in Europe are paid as well, but usually that's because maybe they live in a really rural area, so not many people want to come to where they're at, or maybe they have lots of different animals and lots of expectations, or maybe they have an older pet that has some health issues and might even need administering of medication or something like that. So sometimes you could be paid, but most of the time you are not. Really, it's just a win-win situation because they get a free house and pet center, and the peace of mind knowing that their dog or cat or whatever can be at home and that someone's caring for them. And then you get to stay in a comfortable place and you get to feel useful. It's kind of nice.
And they get to vet you in advance. So they do their check by talking with you and whatnot. So when you do a interview with somebody, you can find out a lot more about them, and they can find out about you as well. And we should explain that it's not that the animals could be dogs, cats, birds, rabbits, horses, goats, chickens, exotics. It could be all kinds of or combinations thereof. So we've seen some that are like, well, we got 2 dogs, a cat, a bird, and a lizard. I'm like, yeah, we don't want that one. Then the state could be in a big city or in the countryside, an apartment, a house, or a farm. It could be anywhere.
Yeah, anywhere.
And on some of the sites, it's not just pet sitting. It's working like, hey, I got a fruit farm. I need you to help work on the fruit farm during the day, and then we'll give you a place to stay, and we want you here for 3 months. So you might be able to stay for longer periods of time.
Yeah, now you're going down a rabbit hole because there are some sites like working sites too.
Correct.
That, if you're a young person and you want to go travel the world, you can work and stay at some places and that kind of thing. But that's not really the niche that we're in.
If you're also looking for where you want to go, you might want to go with somewhere that has great public transportation because you don't want to have a car, or a place where you must bring your own, a rental car, but that's can get costly. Or maybe they will let you use their car. Like currently on the pet sit we're on right now, very generous owners of the house and of the pet, they let us use their car, which we spoke about in the recently. No, I don't know if we have talked about that yet, but I kind of got in a fender bender with it, but it was all cool, no problem, and it wasn't my fault.
We'll discuss more of that later. But let's discuss how we ended up here in Italy and what we're doing here. So long story short, and we did kind of describe some of this in our last episode, but I found a post on Facebook for an international pet sitting group. Now, this is a non-vetted Wild West kind of group. You're not paying for anything. It's literally just on Facebook. I found a woman that was asking for a pet sitter for 2 weeks in June. She wanted someone that had experience with highly energetic dogs and reactive dogs. And since we have a dog like that at home, and we're mature and we're active and we own a home. So we thought we would be a good fit for this particular lady, and the timing worked out great for us. So I sent her a message and I explained, it was a private message. It wasn't on just like the comments section. And I explained who we were and where we live and why we want the job, why we were perfect for the job. And we didn't have long to wait for a response.
And let's explain a little bit why we were the perfect people for them.
Well, I just said that we're mature.
Yeah, but
so we're not
just
we're in
being
our 50s.
mature.
We're not 20-year-olds backpacking through Europe that are going
that's
to
what they have a lot of problems with on some of these sites, is that somebody just wants to be like, hey, I want to party and go travel Europe and I want a place to stay for free. And they're not really taking it as serious. And that's what people have to vet. They have to vet those things out.
Yeah, and not to say that 20-year-olds can't be serious, but there you do get a certain level of confidence and trust with an older couple. And I think it's nice because there's 2 of us, and
So we're
we
better.
we can take turns. There's always somebody to watch the dog and go cook dinner or whatever. I don't know. It's and we're still fit and active, so we can take the dog on long walks and do a lot of things that if you were older, maybe that would be harder for you to do. So you do have to know what you're getting into with your kind of animal. But anyway.
So an important question you might want to start with is, what language does the pet understand? Because maybe if it's Italian, like we're in Italy, are we supposed to be speaking Italian? Because if we don't know it, we're gonna have a problem talking to the dog. But luckily for us,
can you imagine a whole list of cues and commands that you would have to try to learn?
Yeah, I'd
in a
feel like the
different
Swedish
language?
chef on the
Oh
Muppet
my
Show,
gosh.
where I'm talking like I wouldn't know what I'm saying if it was. You'd have
Because
to
you
learn
can't
it quickly.
assume that every animal understands English.
And it could be tricky if you only knew a few commands. But luckily for us, the host of this pet sit, an American and a American man and a German woman, they speak to their dog in mostly English, so that worked thank goodness for us.
Thank God. But that is one of the questions, obviously, that you want to ask. And we have a lot of these questions in a document that will be in the show notes that you can use if you're going to get yourself involved in one of these situations. So you can look at that for a reference. But it's good to know, little things, how old the pet is, what kind of temperament and schedule does it have, what type of home do they live in, and what kinds of household duties are you going to be responsible for. And you should kind of have an idea of what the general neighborhood also looks like, what kind of freedom you might have, what can you do and see nearby, and just basically what were your own accommodations look like. Do you have your own room, your own bathroom?
Before we left, we felt like we had the answers to all these questions and more, but there were still some things that surprised us. For example, we didn't ask where the dog sleeps at night. It turns out doesn't ever get kenneled, and she always sleeps with them in the bed at night. So
Yeah.
Wiggles, this
Yes.
adorable little terrier that's sitting right behind me, sleeps with us in the bed every single night for the last 2
She sure
weeks.
does. She is a snuggle bunny.
And we don't mind that at all because, our dog doesn't do that anymore with us back at home. She sleeps in a cozy cave, but a little cool bed. But this dog, it kind of has been nice to have this dog, snuggled up with us at night.
But that was not something that was disclosed to us
Correct.
before coming here. And like you said, we don't mind that at all, but some people might mind that.
Absolutely.
And they don't have a backup plan. She, like you said, she doesn't get kenneled. No, this dog is going to be in the bed with you. So if that is something that's important to you, you might want to ask ahead of time for sure.
And if you're worried about cleanliness, just so you know, this is the cleanest dog ever because she swims in the ocean, in the Mediterranean Sea, every single morning. We take her for a walk at 6:15 a.m. and she goes swimming in the ocean, and then she comes back and we shower her and clean her every day. So she's the nicest smelling, wonderful
She's
puppy.
so silky and soft and cute. Yeah. So that's actually a good lead in to talk about kind of what does our daily schedule look like, because I'm sure people are wondering like, okay, so you do this house sit, but then what do you do? What do you do all day? What does your day look like? So as you said, we get up every morning at 6 a.m. We set an alarm. This is vacation for us, but it's not because we do have a dog priority. So we set it at 6 a.m. and we drive down this curvy, tight road down to the local beach, kind of down by the harbor, so that she can run and play ball and swim while it's still cool, because it gets pretty hot here during the day, but mostly because there are no other dogs down there. And that's a big deal because this one doesn't play nice with others. So after we do that for a half an hour or so and she's super tired, we come back and Tony washes her off in the shower and I get coffee and breakfast ready. And then our other household duties are taking care of the grass and the plants. So we have to water the grass outside and I water all the household plants. I have to sweep the floor, do the dishes, things like that. And then during the day, we work on our computers. We play fetch with her inside. We snuggle up. We read a book. I don't know. Sometimes we go down to the harbor and
We record a podcast.
yeah,
Or
this is our
two.
second one that we've actually recorded here in their home, in their living room. We can't put the video on because we're just trying to be respectful of their privacy. But yeah, so make sure you got enough to keep you busy. We're still working on our digital business, or
Things,
whatever that is, and that's not really taking up a ton of our time yet, but the podcasting is. But then the evening, it's lovely. We feed her, we take her for a little walk, and then we walk down the street to our favorite little restaurants that we've come to know. And it's cheap, you guys. If you're in a little village like we are, you can get an amazing pizza. Like my mouth is
Pizza,
watering just
drinks.
thinking about it. In fact, we're gonna go get one soon.
As soon as we're done with this.
But the pizza's $7.50 and it fills both of us up. And then we could have some cocktails. All of it's less than $25.
Oh, 25 that's a bottle of wine and the pizza. So,
It's amazing. It's so lovely. Now, if you were in a big city like Paris or London or Rome, it's going to cost you more. Your budget will be different for a pet or a house sit in a big city as compared to where we are right now.
and that's kind of why we liked this one to start is because, I've been to a little deli, it's called something else, but it's a deli to us that's listening probably in English. And the owner's Gianni in San Antonio. When we were walking down the street the other day, he's like, Tony! He's yelling at me from across the street. And I'm like, Antonio. And it was kind of cool because he knew who I was just by being in his shop multiple times.
Yeah, because he knows everybody else in town. So
That's right. And he knew that I was not from this town.
Yeah.
Everybody knows we're not from this town. But occasionally, we feel like we are living Groundhog's Day because it is the same routine every day. But that's
When that alarm goes off every morning and I feel like we smack, I feel like it's that same scene in
I
Groundhog's
think
Day.
it's like Yoko. What was it? No, it was Sonny and Cher. Anyways,
Yeah.
digress. But being groundhog, that's okay because for the first time ever in our travels, we feel like we are actually living somewhere else, not
True.
just visiting.
True.
We have found a rhythm. It doesn't feel like vacation. It feels normal. It's like we're coming home when I come back from the beach or come back. I'm coming home. I'm sitting in the house. I'm doing the same things I'm doing. I'm Julie's doing laundry or something like that.
Yeah, don't say I'm doing laundry.
I said Julie's doing laundry,
Well, you
and
do
I
help
said,
hang
and
it.
I'm out mowing the yard. I've done that twice already.
Yeah.
We go and buy groceries, and we take out the trash and multiple dehumidifiers twice a day. 'Cause
Oh
it's
my
very
gosh,
humid.
we had no idea that dehumidifiers were such a big thing. And now we've actually seen this on some other sites that you were looking at, pet sits. About one of them was just they wanted somebody in their home specifically to empty dehumidifiers all
Yeah,
day long or
3
something
of
like
them.
that in
It wasn't even a pet sit. It was a house.
Thailand
It
or
was
something.
it was a house sit in Thailand, and I was looking, and it was Malaysia. Sorry, they said we want somebody to live here for almost 2 months, and because we're going to be gone, and if you do not dehumidify everything 2-3 times a day, like and move things and put them in the cupboards and different places, electronics start to wreck. They have to be used. Like you have to turn them on. You got to use them. You got to dehumidify everything. Otherwise, they'll come home after 2 months and everything in their house will be wrecked.
That's
forever.
crazy. That's
So
just
they just wanted
crazy.
people to stay at their house and use their stuff.
Well, I mean, that's not a bad gig, but we have 3 here and we are kind of emptying them constantly. But anyway, the other thing that we do all the time, and it was actually one of our biggest stressors when we first got here, was the trash system here and the recycling. It's crazy. So
Crazy.
Italians, they take this recycling business very seriously. They've got color-coded bins, and then every day a different kinds of material gets picked up by the garbage people. And we had to make sure that we had the right stuff out on the right day and that we didn't have it mixed up. And how do you know
And
it?
these bins are different color, but they're a little bit smaller than a 5-gallon bucket. And you can't put all the stuff in there because sometimes you have more than that. So then we're hanging bags from hooks on the side of the building, and we have to hang them up in the air because there's so many cats that run around that they'll get into it. You can't put them out the night before. You had to put them out the morning of because the cats go nuts and try to get into the trash.
Luckily, we're up every morning at 6 a.m., so that hasn't been a problem. But we've had to Google multiple times, like, where do cotton balls go? Which one of these little things does this go in? We felt very stressed. Like, I hope we don't screw this up.
The stress came from them telling us that if you do it wrong and they're taking the trash that day, whatever it is, plastics one day, bottles the next, paper the next, organics the next, if you do it wrong, they'll leave it there and they'll put a note saying, bad. You didn't do this right. So we've been
And you have to go
high-fiving.
through it.
We've been high-fiving the first 4 days. We're like, sweet, boom, high five. Our bags are gone. Our trash is gone. So that we were happy.
Yeah, well, that would not have been the biggest deal in the world. That's not a big calamity. But as you had mentioned a little earlier, we did have some calamities. One, we lost power twice, and that makes this house really hot, let me tell you. But most of the time they came back on with like an hour or two. But also we broke some things.
Yeah.
Or I did anyway. I don't know. I'm not a
I
careless
broke some stuff too.
I'm not a careless person and I don't break things at home. I don't know. But I did break a coffee mug and I hope it wasn't a super sentimental one for her, but I broke that. And then Tony spilled chocolate gelato down his white shirt the other day and I couldn't get it clean with just the laundry detergent. So I tried this spray nozzly bottle thing and I don't know, I opened it improperly and I snapped the thing right off. And it was a full bottle and it unfortunately was from Germany. So I'm guessing
German.
she brought that.
We're not buying that down at the tobacco.
No, I couldn't replace it by going down to the grocery store. So I don't know. I felt kind of bad about that. And then one day I thought I broke the glass protector that's on top of their cooktop. But thankfully, it literally just kind of slid out of its little bracket. And Tony's like, oh, no problem. He put it right back in. It was fine. But that was scary. But I will tell you one thing that is your friend is Google and Google Translate, because I would have had a hard time working the appliances. Cooking was actually a nightmare because I couldn't tell what spices. I mean, some spices are obvious. If you look at it, you're like, yeah, okay, this is rosemary. Other ones, not so obvious. And I needed
There's a lot of them.
Oh, she's got a huge cupboard full of it. And I was trying to make a recipe and cook one night, and that was tricky. That was a really tricky thing. So
It
Google
was great.
Translate, take a picture of it, put it into the thing for you. That's great. And then also just even boxes of rice. Like she had a different funky kind of
Yeah, that
rice.
rice was weird.
Well, and I had to Google on it what were the instructions to cook it because it was different, and we didn't love that one. Maybe I screwed it up, but
Those are mostly inexpensive hiccups.
yes, that's
But
true.
we did have one big problem, and I kind of mentioned it earlier, but it wasn't my screw up. Basically, your worst nightmare when you're traveling and you're borrowing somebody's car. We got into a fender bender with our host's car, and
Yikes.
that was not a fun call to make, but the driving here is beyond insane. I'm thinking, we've been to Ethiopia, we've been to a bunch of places. They say Naples is like the craziest drivers in Italy. This little Monte de Procida, which is where we are, just 15, 20 minutes west of Naples on the coast, is as crazy as there, and it's like they're 10 times that over here because the streets are so narrow and tiny and windy, and they go different directions, and they don't look. Motor scooters are going around you side, right along, into the wrong lanes. Their stop signs are 100% optional here. So you got to have your head
And
on a
actually,
swivel.
there aren't even very many.
But where they are, people run them. They don't even slow down.
There's tons of roundabouts, and
So-
people have really gotten used to living in close proximity to each other and also driving in close proximity. Like today, coming back from the beach, the motor scooter was 9 inches off your body, and
Yep.
it's so loud you jumped. And if you jumped into the road, you'd hit him.
Yep. So the call to the owners back when they're on vacation saying, "Hey, we got in an accident," was not fun. But the woman pulled out of a parking spot. I had already gone past the car that was already parked, and all of a sudden, we're like, "What was that?" I'm like, and I saw a family standing on the side of the road with kids, and I'm like, my first thought was, I didn't hit a kid. I didn't hit anything. I know there's nothing in front of the car. And she's like, it was metal. And we look behind us, and there's a woman with an angled car into our back right corner of our car. And she gets out, and we get talking to her, and she goes, I didn't even look. I'm like, well, first of all, don't say that. But yeah, thank you for admitting your guilt. But why didn't you look when you pulled out of your parking
In
spot?
this town, how can you not look? You have
it's
to look
nuts.
27 times. I think sometimes they just think, oh, I got to go or I'm not going to get out there.
Right.
Like you just have to stick your neck out there, but you still need to look first.
Yeah, so she even says, I'm not from here, but when I come and visit here, I act like they do, and I drive like they do, and I didn't even look. And I'm like, okay, you need to go back to where you were and drive your normal streets, or remember how you did that. But it was bad.
It was crazy. I felt
was
so
it
bad
was just
for
great,
you.
but it was just bad because you don't want to get in a car accident with somebody's car that you're borrowing.
No.
And sure enough, and by the way, I just made the comment, like, I rule this town when I was driving because I was driving so well, and
It's really your fault.
yeah,
You
because I jinxed
provoked
myself.
the
Oh yeah,
karma
I jinxed
gods.
myself, my karma.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you took a video of the woman kind of speaking and saying what happened, and we exchanged the insurance information, and we did all, that stuff. So, I mean, that was good.
well, I did a video, but the video had, the owner of the car. She wasn't even the owner of the car. He came and said, "Hey, get her on film." I said, "Yep." And then he goes, "Now take a picture of, keep the video rolling." We did the car, we did my car, their car, we did, then I got her speaking in Italian, saying what exactly happened, even admitting that she was wrong. But then he goes, "And today's date is blank," and then he showed his watch and showed the time, and he says, "The time is this." And so we had everything documented, and then I sent that to our owner of the, of Wiggles in the car. And they were like, "Wow, you did everything right. That's perfect. Thank you. No problem. They'll fix it, or they'll pay us for it, and it's not a problem."
Yeah, we felt bad. We tried to do everything right, and you were handling things so well. And you can't control what other people are going to do. That's just going to be the kind of thing that happens. So you have to decide on your pet sit if you're comfortable driving somebody else's vehicle. Now, they're either going to just have it paid for out of pocket, like the people are just going to pay for it, or they might send it to insurance. Honestly, it wasn't that big of a scrape. And the good news is it was on the same side of the car that already had a scrape.
Right.
And she even
Every
told
car has scrapes.
That's true. Every car is banged here. But she said before they left, if you do get a scrape, please just try and have it be on that same side. Woohoo! Okay, well, it was. Anyway, this has been a learning experience. We learned what we liked. We learned what was easy, what was not, what we didn't like, what we might look for in our next situation. And we did learn that, 2 weeks, it could be a long time. It can feel like a lot. or it could feel like a short time, depending on where you are and what you have to do and how much you feel the need to be productive or active. I felt a couple times like I was a little untethered. And I'm very, very busy at home and I check a lot of things off a list at home. And I felt a little lost here some days. But we learned that you can totally fall in love with an animal in 2 weeks' time. And we are really going to miss her.
Yeah, we learned that we love being by the ocean or Mediterranean or Tyrrhenian Sea and swimming in it every single day. Like every single afternoon when we're like, all right, time to go down. We walk the windy road down. We go swimming in our same spot. People look at us like, who are those people?
But they're coming to know us now.
They are. Actually, some people are like, they see us every single day and we see the same people. We're out in the same spot in the water. And by the way, just paint a picture for you. It is stunning. We are in this cove with the cliff that wraps all the way around the bay with a harbor and a marina with a big rock outcropping marina promenade. And then it's an enclosed bay with breakers of rocks. So you go out and get in the water and it's calm water because you're inside the breakers. And you have a semicircle of cliffs that are hundreds of feet high with houses dotted, painted houses along the top dotted. And then there's a little island out there. And then behind you, you have the islands of Procida and Ischia, which are two big islands off the coast of Italy that are part of Italy. But it is stunning. And we get to look at that every day when we're out there swimming.
Yeah, the landscape is absolutely beautiful, but also the water is warm. It's super clear. And the beach is like when you're in the water, it's super soft and sandy.
sand.
There's no rocks, there's no shells that you're going to cut your feet on. I mean, it is absolutely the most perfect swimming experience.
But we also liked experiencing the town and doing new things that was, but there was some things that was hard to do from here. It's a small town, so really small, and it's up on a mountain kind of a thing. And the cliffs, hence the cliffs. And to get anywhere takes navigating through these windy roads that have been here for hundreds and hundreds of years. And they're all windy, narrow alley type roads with insane traffic. And then there's no parking. And if you do, you just park up and you drive up on a curb and like, I'll park here in the middle of the road. And so people leave their car and they go inside for a couple minutes, come back out. I'm like, no, you're in the lane.
Yeah, you can't pass by. What the
It's
heck?
just not a conducive and easy for exploration. And that's something we didn't ask in advance because
We had no idea.
because they're not like going to sit there and tell you that openly. And it's not like they're hiding. It's just that's part of living for them.
You know what? She did kind of discourage, like when I asked about some fun day trips that we thought we would do that to us didn't seem that far away. And she was very discouraging about it. And I didn't understand why. And now I know because those would have taken far, far longer than we had any idea. Even if they were not that many miles away, it will take that long just to navigate the roads, find parking, do the thing, get all the way back. It's actually really hard. So yeah, we didn't explore nearly as much as we thought we were going to do. And she also didn't want us to leave the dog for very long, but that's okay. There are some really amazing archaeological sites nearby, and we did get to go into some of those, and that will probably be in another podcast later. But all in all, we just kind of needed to be satisfied with our favorite coffee shop and the restaurants. And Tony was super happy if he got his pistachio croissant called a
Cornetto pistache.
as often as possible.
Every single day if I could. One thing on those archaeological sites, just to give you a tease for future episodes and we talk about it. Today I went out on a boat into the harbor in Baia, which is right here. It's like 3 miles away. Like as a crow flies, it's 3 miles. It's a 20-minute drive, but it's 3 miles away as a crow flies. But it's Emperor Claudius had a summer home here on this bay, and I went out on a boat, and I went scuba diving in an submerged archaeological park. It's a national park, and we went down and we uncovered, waving our hands over the sand that covered up these 2,000-year-old mosaics, all preserved on the ocean on the seabed floor. And columns tipped over and statues and stuff. And it was all while scuba diving. And I come up and then I got all these beautiful houses and Roman, all these sites that I can see from the shoreline that are still there 2,000 years later, intermixed with houses and restaurants and cafes, and it's just wild. And that's all within just a couple miles of here. So
We're only, I don't know, how 20 miles, not even outside
20
of
miles. We're not
Naples.
20, we're 15 miles at most from
Outside of
Naples.
Naples, and Naples has some of the most prolific archaeological sites in the entire world, Greek and Roman, and we haven't even begun to explore all of them. But I don't know, Tony, are you glad that we did this?
Are we glad we did this? Absolutely. Do we have any regrets?
No, not a single one. Mm-mm.
All right, we will strategize a little bit differently next time, probably. We think we will, but then when we get into it, it's the questions. You don't know what you don't know. So
True.
if you think, okay, now I know all these questions that we would have asked this time, they might not be the questions that we have to ask the next time.
Yep, that's
So,
true. Yeah,
but
we can
this
only
was-
help a little, so much.
This was truly a magical experience and a fantastic first foray into pet sitting, and I would not change a thing.
I wouldn't either. And also, I think we've made really good friends for life with our hosts. And what we maybe didn't mention is that we did get here a couple days early.
3.
Well, their flight got delayed, kind of. So,
2
yeah. So,
days.
we actually had 2.5 days with our hosts in the house with them before they left. And at first, we thought, oh, that might be a little bit awkward, but it turned out to be absolutely lovely. We got along with them so well. It was nice to get settled. It was good to learn all about our pet and how we needed to handle her. And then she got to take us on the walks with her in the morning and show us how she does things. And that was really, really actually nice. It turned out to be positive for us. So,
And the dog.
and the dog. And more importantly, I think we're going to get invited back.
I sent her a video this morning. If you follow us on Facebook or any of the other sites, I make some videos with photos and I put them to music and whatnot. And I made one for her, knowing that she's getting on a plane today to come back for tomorrow. And it was all about our time with Wiggles. And it was 2 minutes long of photos and videos of us from the last 2 weeks, and saying that we'll miss Wiggles. And she's like, "Oh, I can't wait to travel again, and I hope that you'll come back. We love that you're, doing so great with her and having so much fun, and she's liking you." So, if they want to go on a vacation, I know we'll get a call.
Well, we have a lot more that we'd like to see and do here, and we're going to miss our afternoon swims and our Aperol spritz and our pistachio cornettos.
Oh, we're still going to have the last 2 and maybe the swims, but we're just going to do them elsewhere.
True, we have a lot more fun things coming up. So that concludes this episode of Meander Travel. We hope this inspires you to think about your travels in a new, a different way, and other things that you can find to do unique stays. So until next time, wheels up.